I hope you're having an awesome day. You are listening to the Sprout Up, the Sprout Up podcast. Your study hack buddy, your source of science, research, and agriculture discoveries. And your virtual friend who will tell you not just the things that you want to hear, but the things that you need to hear. Again, this is the Sprout Up, the Sprout Up podcast. Again, I am Arvin Joshua P. Verlongo, your host for the Sprout Up podcast, and welcome to our episode 2. In the last episode, we have tackled the valuable life lessons that I've learned from college, and this is a continuation of that topic. So, in the first episode, we learned about 4 different points. First is to know your core values. Second is to spend it with the right people. Third is to celebrate victories. And lastly, that it is very important for us to focus on the process rather than the product. Yeah. So for this episode, we will be tackling another 5 lessons that I've learned from college and how can we apply it in our daily living and even in our work as a student, as an employee, as a boss, or whatever job description you have. So let us start. First, acknowledge that there will be people who's gonna be better than you. This is something that is really hard for me to swallow entering college because I came from the idea that I am the best. Wow. Because from preschool, elementary to high school, I've always strived for the best me that I can be when it comes to my academics, when it comes to my extracurricular. I've always looked for the top spot. Entering college, it has become so difficult for me to acknowledge that there will always be people na mas magaling sa akin, na mas okay sa mga ganitong bagay. And the reason why it is very important for us to acknowledge that, it's because it will lessen the pressure. Most of us, siguro, we have our own pressures. We set pressures for ourselves. We challenge ourselves to do these things, to be like this or like that. As I've mentioned in the first episode, I myself is a visionary. Diba? I like to challenge myself. I like to set grades for the semester and such. And acknowledging that there will always be people better than me has helped me to be mindful of myself, to take care of myself. Because there are times na kapag kunwari, sobra na yung pressure that I set for myself, ang nangyayari is I am even performing worse than my normal performance when it comes to my academics. It is also a freedom for us to acknowledge na hindi ikaw yung laging top in everything that you do. That will bring us to my next lesson, which is accepting corrections. Yan. So, accepting corrections and self-evaluating din sa mga corrections na binibigay sa'yo ng tao. Ako, dati, if you will meet me siguro when I was in high school, I was a very prideful person na I wouldn't consider your opinion. I wouldn't consider what you're saying about the things or my outputs, ganon, unless you are my professor or something. But in college, I learned how to accept corrections from peers, of course, from my professors, and from the people who really care about me. Kasi, itong mga corrections na to, they will be the points for you to improve. I've also learned this in the ministry. Actually, in Victoria Los Baños, we have this parang evaluation after the praise and worship, parang ganun. So, in that evaluation, we will discuss within our teammates what are the things that are commendable, what are the things that needs improvement. And there, I learned how to really ruminate on the things that they are saying to me whenever it is a commendation or a point to improve myself and in my craft or in the things that I do. Yeah, that really humbled me. Their corrections are not for themselves but for me. Another funny instance na nangyari to is when I am talking with one of my panel members sa thesis ko. Tapos kasi parang she is encouraging me to join a contest. Tapos ano tawag dito, di ginawa ko yung entry, ganyan. Tapos, ang ginawa ko, finorward ko siya doon sa group chat namin with my other panel members. Kasi mayroon akong dalawang panel members tas yung thesis advisor ko. So, yung panel member ko, chinat niya ako, piniem niya ako. Sabi niya sa akin, next time, when there is something like that, an output or a contest, send it first to the person who sent you the memorandum, parang gano'n. Which means, parang ang gusto niya sabihin sa akin is, dapat sa kanya ko muna sinend kaysa sinend ko na agad dun sa mga ibang tao. So, at that point, parang sabi ko, oo nga, no. That became an eye-opener for me, and I said to her that, thank you, ma'am, for this correction. Thank you, and I will not make the same mistakes again. Parang gano'n. Through that, I learned na gano'n pala, in a professional setup. And it is also a form of respect. Yan. So, in line with this, it is very important for us to also find the beauty of failures. So, that is my third point. Find the beauty of failures, but do not commit the same mistakes again. Ayun, parang there is really beauty in failures. Kasi isipin mo, kapag ang roller coaster, wala siyang down. So, it is not thrilling at all. And I think that is also the design of our life. That it is not only victories, rainbows and unicorns and butterflies and everything. But it is also pain. It is also suffering. It is also failure. And the moment that we acknowledge that there is beauty in failures, doon natin mas marirealize that these failures are really helping us. And they are not always against us. Actually, most of the failures talaga, the product must be a lesson. Kasi kapag kunwari, you fail and you already settle with that, there will not be any improvement sa'yo as an individual. Instead, you will just settle. Either magkakaroon ng denial, or magkakaroon ng parang victim mentality na, hala, kawawa naman ako, or what, ganyan. Or kapag denial na, hindi, ganito kasi, dapat ganito. The question will be, where do you improve at when that is your mentality? Parang ganun. So, walang progress, walang nangyayaring self-evaluation and such. Thus, we will not grow. Yeah. So, it is very important for us to find the beauty in failures. Another thing that I need to emphasize in this podcast is yung learning occurs every day. Learning occurs every day. And always think that you can learn in several ways every day. It is not just formal learning kasi we can learn through our experiences, through some random things that our friends are sending to us, parang ganon. We can learn from it. And that is something that is exponential to you as an individual and also to me as an individual. I am seeing to it na every day I learn something. Pero it is not a pressure. Whenever you feel like, kunwari, you just need to rest for the day, or you just need to, watch a series for a day, ganon. There's also learning in those idle moments. Perhaps your mind will just go to a certain aspect of life na parang meron ka dong ma-realize, parang ganon. So, there is also learning, in every time of the day. It can occur and it can happen. Ayun, so learning is fun. Hindi siya learning lang within a specific field. For example, me as an agriculturist, it is not just learning about more complex physiological processes that are happening. It is not just about that. It is about learning what is happening in your life. There can always be realizations and learning. And lastly, you need to value your rest. So, I've mentioned this a lot of times in my YouTube videos and my TikTok, to really value your rest. It is very important for you to at least have a moment of rest. In my practice, whenever I am studying, I do the Pomodoro. So that's 25 minutes of working, tapos 5 minutes of break, rest, ganon. And ayun, parang 4 cycles ng ganon, and then longer breaks, ganon. I find it really healthy for me na mag-break in between. Pero this is not the same. This is not the same sa mga tao. There are people na mas nagiging productive kapag they are finishing a task bago mag-break, para mga ganun. So, rest is very Essential. Imagine yung yung slingshot. I always say this as well. Yung sa slingshot, mas malakas yung projectile motion. Wow, projectile motion. Mas malayo yung mararating nung stone sa slingshot kapag mas rested siya. Kumpara kapag kapag nilaunch mo na siya agad na walang resting moment. Same through with us. And even the simple things na nasa bahay natin, even appliances, need rest. Tayo pa kayang human being, di ba? So, always see to it that you have rest and know when to pause. Know when to hit the pause button. So, like yung sinasabi na mag-pause, then regain your strength, and then go again. Fight again. I hope that you will be able to apply this. Perhaps self-evaluate muna if these things will work for you. And after that, try to apply it in your life. Again, this is Arvin Joshua P. Verlongo for Sprout Up I-6111 para sa Bayan, Agham at Agrikultura.